Well, the San Francisco 49ers just tipped one of those cards in their draft hand. We're going to talk about that in this video, what we know, what we don't yet. Plus, I'm going to talk about one of the world's greatest wide receivers. Just a quick update on that one. Hit subscribe if you're looking for daily 49ers content. Does help me out. We're heading toward 10K. Going to do a 10K giveaway, so make sure you're subscribed so you can be a part of that. But Brandon Aiyuk per Adam Schefter. This is a quick update because it came late yesterday after I recorded, and so you might have already seen this. I don't want to waste too much time talking about it, but I do want to tell you what Adam Schefter said on his podcast. We're going to react to that real quick, and then we got the draft hand tip and what it means. And there's actually, I'm like loving this idea more and more. But let's start with Adam Schefter. Okay, so now again, there has not been a whole lot of interest because of the price and injury concerns of Brandon Aiyuk. Nobody wants to take on a contract where you don't know when the guy is going to be healthy again this season. But from what I understand from the esteemed doctor, is pleased with his progress. He's coming along. I would think he's ready to play by mid-season, and there might be a team out there that is willing to basically not give up very much to get a great player coming off of injury. Okay, whoa, there's a lot here. Let's start with the good news. The good news is that Brandon Aiyuk is on his way back, that he is doing well, that the doctor's happy with the progress, all of that kind of stuff. That's good news, okay? The bad news is that he put him in the middle of the season. Now, I don't know if he means middle of the season or just like mid-season, which could be any time after the season begins, technically. Oh, man. I really hope it's not mid-season. If it's the middle of the season, I will be a little disappointed there because I have high hopes that Brandon Aiyuk is going to be available a little bit earlier than that based on some other reports that have been out there over time. But I won't go too crazy onto that one because we just don't know. It is interesting, however. It's unlikely that Brandon Aiyuk gets traded, but it is interesting that the way he phrased there, basically not give up very much to get a great player coming off of an injury. Okay, so there's something there. Now, let's see here. Who was it? It was Kyle Posey for Niners Nation wrote an article about this, and he said this: Schefter continued to double down on what it would take to acquire Aiyuk, saying a team wouldn't have to give up that much at all. But he also added that he doesn't believe Aiyuk gets moved. So there you go. That's the quick update on Brandon Aiyuk. I think the main questions, of course, are when will he be back and will he be his best self? And on the when will he be back, it's looking like middle of the season now. That's not great. Don't love that. Number two, though, will he be his best self? The doctor is the best out there. I forget how to say his name, but he's the best out there from what I've heard for this type of surgery. But nobody, of course, could possibly know how he's going to react on that. We'll have to wait and see. He worked his whole life to get to this time, and he had an incredible season at a peak in 2023. So do I believe he can work? He's still young enough that he can work and get back to that. Yeah, I do believe it, assuming that his knee will be in good shape, which I think it will be. So good situation. Want to get to, in just a second, the tipped draft hand, but I do want to remind you about the ultimate penalty voting experience, Penalty Verdict. If you're anything like me and you obsess over penalties, just think about how the world might be different. Well, George Kittle passed in the Super Bowl 54. We talked about that one yesterday. If that's not called back to a bogus offensive PI call, or Devontae Smith's 29-yard fourth down gain in the NFC Championship game, if that was called correctly, not an actual catch, as we could so clearly see on the television, or Navarro Bowman's fumble recovery actually being ruled Navarro Bowman's way, but because of dumb rules. That's the kind of stuff that's frustrating in the penalty world, and now you can do something about it. Penalty Verdict allows you to vote in real time on penalty calls in both NFL, there it goes, on both NFL and college football games, so Niners fans can say, that was a bogus call. We are all sick of the refs loving the Kansas City Chiefs, and we want to do something about it. With Penalty Verdict, you get to engage with a community of football fans who desire fair play and accountability. Unlock the next dimension of sports by engaging with real-time polling of referees, players, and teams. Plus, Penalty Verdict is in the development phase and would love to hear feedback from you. What features do you want to see in the app for next football season? All you have to do is click right here, enter your email, and you can be a part of that conversation. I already did it myself and filled out the survey. So vote on NFL and college football penalty calls in real time with Penalty Verdict by going to penaltyverdict.com penaltyverdict.com/Sports Talk San Francisco. Get signed up today for penaltyverdict.com/Sports Talk San Francisco. Another day has passed. And at first, I wasn't going to make news out of this. All right. I wasn't going to say it was a thing. I wasn't going to say the 49ers tipped their draft hand. But every day that progresses where the 49ers have not brought in another top 30 visit, I'm starting to feel like the current top 30 visit, singular, that's out there is starting to look a little more enticing to the 49ers. So we're going to talk about that. Let's go down into it. And for comparison's sake, I have Pittsburgh Steelers top 30 visits so far right next to the San Francisco 49ers top 30 visits so far. The Pittsburgh Steelers are out there bringing in all sorts of guys. They're like halfway through their top 30 already. And the San Francisco 49ers have one Harold Fannin Jr. out of Bowling Green. Now, I at first was like, cool, I like the pick. I like it. And the more that I've looked into it, the more that I've grown to not just like it, I love it. He's the only guy right now that the 49ers have brought in for a top 30 visit, and I can see why they love him. Harold Fannin Jr., 6'4", 230 out of Bowling Green. In 2023, he finished number 1 out of 479 tight ends in college football per PFF. He was picked by PFF in their All-MAC team, which is kind of like PFF's All-American team, I guess. And then 2024, he finished number 1 again out of 438 tight ends in college football. His offensive grade at 95.9, which is phenomenal. His receiving grade, this is where he stands out, was 96.4, which was 1 out of 311 qualifying tight ends. He was number 1. Okay, so just think about this. What the 49ers have desperately wanted for so long, and they draft tight ends like candy, one of the big top teams in the NFL in drafting tight ends in terms of quantity of draft picks allocated, and the 49ers would love to have a pass-catching tight end. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, yeah, but he also has to be able to block. Run blocking, not so good. He was 17th out of 452 qualifying tight ends. I mean, that's not horrible. This is a day 2 guy, okay? And the reason I like this, the more that I'm thinking about it, is the 49ers are not going to go out for Tyler Warren or Colson Lovin. I don't believe that's going to happen. I would like those picks, but the draft capital they'd have to give up to get those guys, probably not going to happen. So if you can find a day 2 guy who could be a sneaky good pickup, and the 49ers, I mean, they clearly like him. He's the only guy that they've brought in so far. Obviously, we don't know all the circumstances, and, you know, things can change. But right now, he sure looks like a guy that the 49ers are very, very interested in. Let's get to what PFF had to say about him, and, and we'll wrap this thing up here. But Fannin is a strong receiving tight end with great value after the catch. That part sounds very, George Kittle-y, doesn't it? His blocking reps are good enough to keep him in line as a tight end 2 or as a wingback on occasion, but his bread and butter in the NFL will be as a tight end who you can quickly get the ball to for after the catch production in a tight end-centric passing attack. Whoa. Okay, now I've always dreamed about what 22-man could look like, or even 12, with the 49ers with 2 pass-catching tight ends, because I could just see Kyle Shanahan destroying teams. And if one of those 2 tight ends was, tight end 2 as a blocker, but tight end 1 as a catcher, and he's alongside, George Kittle, on the same line, that sounds enticing to me. But there's more there I forgot to talk about. We could talk about that too, which is, of course, the next-gen stats combine breakdown scores. He got a production score of 90 and his total overall score, 3rd in tight ends at 84 for the combine. There you go. I believe it was a 4.740. He ran. For some reason, when I watched it, it looked faster than 4.7. It's probably because of his size for a 6'4" guy moving that quickly. But 740, there you go. It's not the fastest 40 in the world. I'm not worried about it because the guy's athleticism makes up for it when he catches the ball. When he gets the ball, what he does after the catch is something that we love. And last year, something that we missed outside of George Kittle. I mean, George Kittle is the only guy really pushing those yards after catch. And so that's where I would love this pickup in that scenario, because you can get him at less of an impact on your draft capital, and he still could be an immediate benefit to the 49ers. The big problem with Harold Fannin Jr. is that the 49ers already put a ton of money into a tight end too, but it is a contract that they can get out of after 1 year. So maybe they see a situation where Harold Fannin can be like an extra player in the system. He's not going to be like a fullback pickup guy because we re-signed Kyle Juszczyk. I don't know how it works that way, but it does seem like a guy that the 49ers would love to have around. And it does seem like a guy, if you could have a pass-catching tight end alongside George Kittle, that would be pretty exciting. Let me know what you think about it. As far as I'm concerned, I love Tyler Warren. I love Colston Loveland. But Harold Fannin Jr. is more of a realistic pickup for the 49ers, considering our needs and the number of draft picks that we have. And that one gets me pretty excited. We are just 27 days away from that. So I'm hyped on that. I hope you are too, because there's a lot to cover as we get closer and closer to that. Who else will the 49ers bring in for top 30 visits? Who else will stand out for the 49ers in terms of guys that they're really interested in historically, are often drafting or trying to draft, hoping to draft those top 30 visit guys? So we'll have to see how all that goes, and I'll make sure I keep you updated on that and where Harold Fannin ends up standing in the end as we get near the actual draft. Appreciate you. Hope you guys, it's Friday. I hope you have a fantastic weekend.